so many things that I missed.
There's so many things in this one. At this point, they're all like tongue twisters. They're all like half sentences that then start new phrases in the middle of them, which is why they're so great.
Yeah,
is there anything you want to isolate?
Well, it's just bugging me that like every time I find a new thing, I'll notice that I did one thing.
Yeah.
And then on the next time, I've adjusted that, but something else
totally
stands out.
Damn you, Wilcoxon. Does he have it in the back of this book? My favorite thing. No, I think it's in the other one. Have you seen that like cartoon of the face?
Oh yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that so much.
Let me turn that off.
What does that thermostat say?
71, but I don't believe
that's a lie. The one in the corner, the smaller one. 83, is that what it says?
Yep.
Yeah, I believe that.
Wait, Oh, 71 is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, what we would like it to be.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah.
That was good?
That was great. Don't you think?
I get into that mode. Like
that was really great.
It was pretty. It was.
Come on, that was great.
Okay.
That was really good.
Okay. You're right. This is pretty good.
Yeah.
I know that I could, if I kept going,
whatever.
Could get that cleaner,
Who cares? Who cares?
No, nobody watches these.
You played it right. I played it right.
This is true.
It's fine.
Okay.
I like that one.
So imagine, and that's without the repeats. Imagine getting through that and then getting all the way here and then just missing like instead of playing this parallel, you played that.
Yeah.
So that's why I always go no repeats first, and then if you feel compelled to do one with the repeats.
This is the stuff, I started taking drum lessons just on snare drum when I was 10. And these kinds of solos were the first thing that my teacher, Tom Mahowski, he was in the Farmington Community Band, and so he took me to those rehearsals in the Farmington Community Big Band, and so that's the first band I played in was a big band with a bunch of people in their 70s. And this was the first stuff that he started to show me, and I just loved it and ate it and craved it, but in a very old-fashioned way, not in a modern marching way. Mm-hmm. And I'm so grateful that we started with this, and that I was studying with someone from the generation that was you have to play a year of snare drum before you can touch a drum set. So many times nowadays kids are I want to play drum set, I don't want to play snare drum. Mm-hmm. And they miss out on a lot of the really important information. Just on a personal note, CalArts is so special, and it kind of turns your whole world upside down in a really special way. I wish that upon everybody who wants that experience, and I get really excited for people when they want to go do that, because it's like art rehab, It really makes you ask the questions about what kind of artist you want to be, and what kind of music you want to play, and what does music mean to you, and what does art mean to you, and I think that those are really scary questions that people don't ask themselves if they're not in school. Mm-hmm. And even if they are in school, a lot of teachers are afraid to have their students ask themselves that. So I love that place and that environment, and it's so special. I get excited when people want to. Drums is kind of abstract, we're not playing super recognizable melodies all the time. We're not playing chords. It's this kind of vague interpretation of sound, right? I've found that I need to have the project idea be really strong for me to feel like I'm artistically saying something. You know? Like, that's why with my record there's like 2 pages of liner notes, and, you know, I'm trying to be very clear and deliberate about the concept so that what I'm trying to say behind this wash of color is actually a very specific thing. Yeah. But what's also interesting, though, is that rub of like, nobody likes us, and like that's also kind of part of the music. Like that's an element of it that like it kind of, it's like how you have a friend that's like a wonderful human being, but they're always late. You know, it's like, oh, it's so endearing. I love you, but you're always late. And it's like, jazz, like you're so great, but you're so inconsiderate to the listener.
Right.
It's like that's kind of part of it, which is sort of endearing about the music. And the kinds of people that play jazz fill the same kinds of archetypes through history. You know, like we're all sort of caricatures of someone that's existed before us. I think that's really sweet. I mean, I'm a weird one because, like, I grew up I never played in rock bands. My first rock band was, I had a church gig in Cincinnati that helped pay my rent. And that was my first rock gig, which was, 8 years after I started playing drums. And so my first drum set gigs were jazz bands. And this is actually a funny story. So I started playing drum set 12, 13, and I was playing for about 6 months, maybe a year at most. And had been playing in the Farmington Community Big Band with all my 70-year-old friends, and was playing along to Glenn Miller records and Woody Herman records, and I was ready to go to jazz camp, to Blue Lake Fine Arts Camp, to play in the big band with kids my age. And I was super excited because my middle school didn't have a big band. And so we go, and I'm ready to play swing and jazz, and the first chart they pull up is Chameleon. I cried because they had written the drum beat out, because it's like beginner charts where they actually show you the beat to play. And if I had just played a rock beat, I would have been fine. But I'm like trying to read this like syncopated, kind of hard, coordinated thing. I couldn't do it. I just cried, like 13 years old, around a bunch of 13-year-old dudes, and I'm just crying. It was sad.
It's really sad. It is also, I mean, that's also just very much a middle school, high school jazz band thing, right? It's like, yeah, guys, jazz band. Okay, let's pull up the chicken.
Yeah.
And it's one of those, it's part of the history and the music, and you have to know it, but...
So I understand in hindsight, but like, at the time it's just like, what is this? It was very funny. I'm glad I can laugh about it now. Dude, it's so late.
What time is it?
It's like 8:30 almost. We gotta go. Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here.
We don't need to record anymore, right?
No, we are quite.